There is no alternative way to describe it. The world is teetering on the edge of dystopia. America seems to be becoming more and more of a police state each day, and with the amassing of current events, we are definitely in a very rare situation, which is unlike any other. At points where lives are devalued just because of the colour of their skin, streets and cities are on fire, and it takes a bunch of anonymous people in face-covering masks to actually get things done. That's when you sort of realise maybe things aren't going too great. The priority of this year so far has definitely been on the downhill, but this last week or two has been extremely negative in a way. Every time you turn on the news, it's like there's some other cause for qualm, and there's just millions of reasons why you should be discouraged and down, and the world definitely seems to be spiralling downwards and heading to a real dark place. But what do we do? What do we do when it's rioting and there's fights and people are afraid of people and people don't treat people like people? What do we do in this situation? Well, there is really only one thing we can do, and that one thing is to prove that we don't want this, is to make a stand against this, is to stand and to speak out and to fight and to shout and to make it known that we will not have what is going on. We will not settle with this tyranny. We will not settle with the shit we are living in right now. We will turn things around. I've always been the type to be quite anti-authoritarian and non-conformist, which in a non-edgy way, but now is definitely lots of people who are sort of blatant and apolitical have turned this way now because of current events. So it's definitely becoming a wider accepted view that the world's shit, and the governing bodies and authorities such as police are shit as well. So we might as well, we have to, I guess, stand up against it if we want a chance at least something acceptable. Or we shouldn't stop. We shouldn't, when this issue of, unfortunately, the issue in question, George Floyd, and the riots that have ensued after that, it's just one solo issue. And yes, it's a terrible, terrible thing, but it's one event that will one day be forgotten. But we mustn't let it die out the moment it stops hitting the trending page on Twitter, or it's not, the first thing in the headlines. We've got to keep this going, because yes, it's one issue and there's been thousands and thousands of before. We don't want there to be another, and surely there will be, unfortunately, many more in the future, but we've got to do our best to limit that and fight against that. I've always believed in sort of, if we don't do what we can to push for our own, what we believe to be best, then we are throwing away chances. If we aren't fighting against an oppressive government, then we are just wasting, and we're just allowing it to happen, which is definitely not what we want to do. We have the chance now. We've always had the chance, but now is more blatantly obvious that we need to do stuff. So fucking go out there and prove that you don't want this, and prove that we can make a difference, because we can. No one should be told what they can be and can't be. No one should be made to be one thing. No one should be treated one certain way because of one defining factor. We all have our rights, and we all have our own distinct humanity. We are all human, we're all people, and we all have the power to change and the power to do and the power to be. So let's use that power and let's change the way things are now. Let's overthrow, as you may, this societal standard of oppression and racism and just bullshit, because it's too much at this point. It is way too much. And touching on this topic, I know I'm white as sheet, but it's not an issue of black versus white. It's an issue of everybody versus the racism. It's everybody versus the police. It's everybody versus the fascists. It's an overall issue. If we can't trust the police on one area, we can't trust them in others. As soon as they destroy one stand of the bridge of trust, the whole thing can't stand anymore. So that's just a bit of a lazy excuse. You're just doing this for brownie points and moral points. No, it's because if I can't trust them in one aspect, I don't have any trust for them at all. So I'm doing this because I don't have trust in them. If they can't protect one entire, though they are the minority, they're a large proportion of life. If they can't protect that, how can they protect me? I can't have trust in them. And I don't want to have support in an unsupporting group of authority. So I am going to stand up here and I am going to say fight it, because it's not right. So go on, do what you have to do what you must, and let's change some stuff, because we can't keep living like this. Shit's going down. Now is an important time, more important than any we've had so far, so use this chance and do some good.